Have you ever wondered why people take to the streets, voice their opinions, and demand change? Hello, and welcome to 5-Minute Fast Facts. At the heart of such actions, we find the genesis of protests. Let's take a journey back in time. We begin in the bustling streets of the Roman Empire, where plebeians, the commoners, protested, demanding political equality. Fast forward to the 14th century, England was shaken by the Peasants' Revolt, a massive uprising against economic injustices. As we move further down the timeline, we arrive at the 18th century, a period marked by the American and French revolutions. These were not mere wars, but large-scale protests against monarchy and aristocracy, demanding political and economic rights. These early protests, fueled by a desire for equality and justice, laid the groundwork for the modern concept of civil disobedience and peaceful protest. From the streets of ancient Rome to the battlegrounds of the American Revolution, protests have been shaping our world since the dawn of civilization. As societies evolved, so did the nature and scope of protests. The 20th century saw some of the most impactful movements that shook the pillars of established systems and paved the way for change. In the United States, the civil rights movement emerged as a powerful force against racial segregation and discrimination. It was a fight not just for political and economic rights, but also for social equality and justice. Iconic figures like Martin Luther King Jr. took center stage, leading the charge with his dream of a nation where people would not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. Across the Atlantic in South Africa, the anti-apartheid movement was gaining momentum. A system of institutionalized racial segregation, apartheid was challenged by protesters demanding equal rights and social justice. Nelson Mandela, a figure of immense resolve, led this fight, enduring 27 years of imprisonment before emerging as South Africa's first black president. Meanwhile, in India, the fight for independence from British rule was underway. A movement that was about more than just political freedom. It was a call for social and economic justice, for dignity, and for the right to self-determination. Leading this struggle was Mahatma Gandhi, a man who championed nonviolent resistance and civil disobedience as the means to achieve these goals. These movements, each unique in their context, bore a common thread. They were about people standing up against injustice, demanding their rights, and fighting for a better world. They were about ordinary people doing extraordinary things, about unity in diversity, about the power of peaceful protest. Each of these iconic leaders and the movements they led had a profound impact. They challenged the status quo, inspired change, and wrote new chapters in the history of their nations. But their influence did not stop at national borders. These protests not only led to significant societal changes, but also inspired countless other movements around the world. In the 21st century, protests have taken on new forms and reached unprecedented scales. From the sweeping wave of the Arab Spring, which toppled long-standing regimes, to the economic outcry of Occupy Wall Street, the voice of the people has echoed loudly. The Black Lives Matter movement has sparked global conversations about racial justice, while the climate change protests, led by young activists like Greta Thunberg, have thrust environmental concerns into the spotlight. The digital age has revolutionized protests, making them more visible and impactful on a global scale. Social media platforms have become the new town squares, enabling real-time organization and amplifying voices that might otherwise go unheard. Digital technology has also allowed for greater visibility, capturing the world's attention and sparking meaningful conversations about societal issues. Today, protests continue to be a powerful tool for individuals and communities to express their grievances and push for change. So, why do protests matter in our societies? Let's take a moment to summarize. Throughout history, protests have been the driving force behind major political, economic, and social change. They serve as a powerful tool for those who feel marginalized, unheard, and unseen, giving them a platform to express their grievances and demand change. Protests challenge the status quo, questioning established powers and pushing for a world that is fairer, more equitable, and more just. They are the heartbeat of democracy, embodying the principles of freedom of speech and assembly. They are a testament to our inherent human rights, reminding us of our collective power and our shared responsibility to uphold these rights for all. But remember, protests are more than just expressions of dissatisfaction. They are the embodiment of hope, the manifestation of an imagined future that is better than our present. Please like, subscribe, and comment if you're enjoying content. Protests are not just about expressing discontent, they are about imagining a better world and having the courage to fight for it.